Have you ever wondered what secrets lie buried beneath your feet right now? What if I told you that some of the most mind-blowing discoveries in human history weren't found in ancient libraries or hidden temples, but deep underground, waiting in the darkness for someone brave enough to dig? Today we're going to explore 5 unbelievable discoveries that completely changed everything we thought we knew about our world. These aren't just archaeological finds or geological curiosities. These are game-changing revelations that left scientists speechless and forced us to rewrite the history books. But first, if incredible mysteries like these fascinate you as much as they fascinate me, you'll want to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we're constantly uncovering the most incredible secrets our planet has to offer, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, before we dive into these extraordinary underground discoveries, let me set the stage for you. Picture this: you're walking through an ordinary field, or maybe you're in your backyard, or standing on a busy city street. Beneath your feet, sometimes just a few meters down, sometimes hundreds of meters below, lie treasures and mysteries that have remained hidden for thousands, sometimes millions of years. Each discovery we're about to explore was found completely by accident. A farmer digging a well, construction workers breaking ground for a new building, a child playing in a cave. These chance encounters led to revelations so profound that they challenged everything experts thought they knew. What makes these discoveries truly unbelievable isn't just their age or their rarity. It's the fact that each one opened up entirely new chapters of understanding about our planet, our history, and our place in the universe. Some revealed civilizations we never knew existed. Others showed us that life on Earth is far more resilient and surprising than we ever imagined. And a few even suggested that our planet's story is far stranger and more complex than any science textbook ever taught us. I've spent months researching these discoveries, diving deep into scientific papers, interviewing experts, and piecing together the incredible stories behind each find. What I discovered will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about underground chambers that defy explanation, ancient organisms that shouldn't exist, and geological formations that challenge our understanding of how our planet works. But here's what's really fascinating. Every single one of these discoveries was initially dismissed or ignored by the scientific community. The people who found them were told they were mistaken, that what they'd uncovered couldn't possibly be real. It took years, sometimes decades, for the scientific world to accept that these underground secrets were genuine. And even today, some of these discoveries continue to baffle researchers and spark heated debates in academic circles. So get ready for a journey that will take you deep beneath the Earth's surface, where ordinary rules don't seem to apply, and where every new discovery raises more questions than it answers. These 5 unbelievable finds will challenge everything you think you know about what lies beneath our feet. Our first incredible discovery takes us to a place where time itself seems to have stopped, deep underground, in a location that most people would never think to explore. Researchers stumbled upon something that completely revolutionized our understanding of life on Earth. This wasn't just another fossil or ancient artifact. This was a living, breathing ecosystem that had been thriving in complete darkness for millions of years, completely cut off from the surface world. The story begins with a team of miners working deep underground, following a routine excavation, when their equipment broke through into what they initially thought was just another empty cavity in the rock. But as their lights pierced the darkness, they realized they had uncovered something extraordinary. The chamber they had broken into was teeming with life, but not any kind of life they had ever seen before. What they discovered challenged every textbook ever written about how life survives on our planet. For millions of years, scientists believed that all life on Earth ultimately depended on energy from the sun. Plants use photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy. Animals eat plants, or other animals that eat plants and the entire food chain traces back to that solar energy. But what these miners found deep underground proved that life had found an entirely different way to survive. The creatures living in this underground world had never seen sunlight. They had evolved in complete darkness, developing ways to extract energy directly from the chemicals in the rocks around them. Some of these organisms were unlike anything scientists had ever encountered before. They existed in a state that blurred the line between living and non-living matter, challenging our very definition of what life is. But perhaps the most shocking aspect of this discovery was the realization of just how vast these underground ecosystems might be. As researchers began to explore further, they found that these hidden worlds extended far beyond the initial chamber. Networks of tunnels and caverns stretched for kilometers underground, each one hosting its own unique community of organisms that had been evolving in isolation for countless millennia. The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. If life could thrive in such extreme conditions here on Earth, what did that mean for the possibility of life on other planets? Suddenly, worlds that scientists had written off as too hostile for life, planets with no sunlight or harsh chemical environments, had to be reconsidered as potential homes for living organisms. But the story doesn't end there. As researchers continued to study these underground organisms, they made another startling discovery. Some of these creatures appeared to age at rates completely different from surface life. While most organisms we know have relatively short lifespans, some of the underground dwellers seemed to exist in a kind of biological slow motion, with lifespans that could potentially stretch across geological timescales. This raised profound questions about the nature of life itself. Could these organisms hold the key to understanding aging and longevity? Were they somehow immune to the processes that cause other living things to deteriorate over time? The more scientists studied them, the more mysteries they uncovered. Even more intriguing was the discovery that these underground ecosystems seemed to operate by entirely different rules than surface life. The usual concepts of predator and prey, competition for resources, and survival of the fittest didn't seem to apply in the same way. Instead, these communities appeared to function more like cooperative networks, with different species working together in ways that maximized the survival of the entire ecosystem. This discovery forced scientists to completely rethink their understanding of how life can exist and evolve. It opened up new fields of research and sparked investigations into similar underground environments around the world. Teams of researchers began exploring caves, mines, and deep boreholes, searching for other hidden ecosystems that might be thriving beneath our feet. What they found exceeded their wildest expectations. Similar underground communities were discovered on every continent, each one unique, but all sharing the same fundamental characteristic of life existing independently of solar energy. These findings suggested that there might be an entire shadow biosphere beneath the Earth's surface, a hidden world of life that operates by completely different rules than the surface world we know. The research into these underground ecosystems is still ongoing, and new discoveries are being made regularly. Each new finding adds another piece to the puzzle of understanding how life can adapt and thrive in the most extreme conditions imaginable. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of this research is what it suggests about the potential for life beyond Earth. As we continue to explore our own planet's hidden depths, we're constantly reminded that life finds a way to exist in places we never thought possible. And if life can thrive in the complete darkness deep underground on Earth, using only chemical energy from rocks, then the possibilities for life elsewhere in the universe suddenly become much more exciting. Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we're constantly amazed by discoveries like these that force us to question everything we thought we knew about our world. But this is just the beginning of our underground journey. The next discovery we're going to explore will take us even deeper into the Earth, where researchers found something that shouldn't exist according to everything we know about geology and physics. Our second mind-bending discovery takes us even deeper into the Earth's crust, where a construction crew in Eastern Europe was digging the foundation for a new apartment complex when their excavation equipment suddenly broke through into what they initially assumed was just a natural cave system. But what they found inside defied every law of physics and geology that scientists thought they understood. Picture this. You're 20 meters underground, expecting to find nothing but solid rock and maybe some groundwater. Instead, your drill bit breaks through into a massive chamber filled with what can only be described as impossible architecture. Not ancient ruins built by some forgotten civilization, but structures that seem to grow directly from the living rock itself, forming geometric patterns that no natural process should be able to create. The team leader immediately called in geological experts, thinking they had stumbled upon some kind of unusual mineral formation. But when the geologists arrived and began their analysis, they were completely baffled. The rock formations inside these chambers exhibited properties that contradicted fundamental principles of how minerals form and behave under pressure. What made this discovery so extraordinary wasn't just the unusual shapes and patterns carved into the rock. It was the fact that these formations appeared to be actively changing. Monitoring equipment left in the chambers over several weeks detected subtle but measurable shifts in the rock structures. The walls themselves seemed to be slowly flowing and reshaping, despite being composed of materials that should have been completely solid and stable for millions of years. But here's where the story gets even stranger. When researchers brought in specialized scanning equipment to map the full extent of these underground chambers, they discovered that the formations extended far deeper than anyone had imagined. The geometric patterns weren't confined to just one level, but continued downward through multiple layers of rock, creating what appeared to be a three-dimensional maze of impossible architecture stretching deep into the Earth's crust. The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through the geological community. Everything scientists thought they knew about how rock formations develop over time was suddenly called into question. These structures displayed characteristics that suggested they had formed through processes that modern geology couldn't explain. Some sections of the rock appeared to have properties more similar to organic materials than traditional minerals, yet they had clearly been part of the bedrock for countless millennia. Teams of researchers from universities around the world descended on the site to study these anomalous formations. Each new investigation only deepened the mystery. Chemical analysis revealed that while the rocks contained familiar elements like silicon and carbon, they were arranged in molecular structures that didn't match any known mineral classifications. It was as if the normal rules of chemistry had been suspended during the formation of these underground chambers. Even more puzzling was the discovery of what researchers began calling microenvironments within the rock itself. Tiny pockets scattered throughout the formations contained atmospheric conditions completely different from the surrounding areas. Some pockets had oxygen concentrations far higher than normal, while others contained gas mixtures that shouldn't be stable under those temperature and pressure conditions. The research team also noticed that electronic equipment behaved strangely in certain areas of the chambers. Compass readings would fluctuate wildly, digital displays would flicker and malfunction, and radio communications would cut out completely in specific zones. It was as if the rock formations themselves were somehow interfering with electromagnetic fields in ways that conventional geology couldn't account for. Word of the discovery eventually leaked to the media, sparking intense public interest and wild speculation about what these underground formations might represent. Some suggested they were evidence of unknown geological processes that science hadn't yet discovered. Others proposed more exotic explanations involving everything from ancient advanced technologies to natural phenomena that operated by entirely different physical laws. But the scientific community remained focused on trying to understand the formations through rigorous research and analysis. Additional sites with similar characteristics were discovered in other parts of the world, suggesting that these anomalous rock formations might be more widespread than initially thought. Each new site provided additional data, but also raised new questions about the fundamental processes that shape our planet's geology. One of the most intriguing aspects of these discoveries was the apparent age of the formations. Radiometric dating suggested that some sections of the rock were incredibly ancient, possibly dating back billions of years to the early formation of the Earth's crust, yet other sections appeared to be much younger, as if new material was somehow being integrated into the existing structures over time. This temporal inconsistency challenged everything geologists thought they understood about how rock layers form and age over geological time periods. Traditional models of geological development simply couldn't account for the complex mixing of ancient and relatively recent materials found within these underground chambers. The discovery also raised profound questions about what other secrets might be hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface. If formations like these could exist undetected for so long, what else might be down there waiting to be discovered? The realization that our planet's interior might be far more complex and mysterious than anyone had imagined opened up entirely new avenues of research and exploration. Research into these anomalous formations continues today, with new technologies being developed specifically to study their unique properties. Advanced imaging techniques, sophisticated chemical analysis methods, and innovative monitoring systems are all being employed to try to unlock the secrets of these underground mysteries. But each new piece of data seems to reveal additional layers of complexity that challenge our understanding even further. The implications of this discovery extend far beyond just geology. If natural processes can create structures and materials with properties that seem to defy conventional physics, what does that tell us about the limits of our current scientific knowledge? Are there fundamental aspects of how matter and energy interact that we simply haven't discovered yet? Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we're constantly amazed by discoveries that force us to question the very foundations of what we think we know about our world. But this underground journey is far from over. Our third incredible discovery will take us to a place where researchers found something that completely revolutionized our understanding of ancient history and human civilization. But before we continue, I have to ask, are you starting to realize just how much mystery lies beneath our feet? These discoveries we're exploring today represent just a tiny fraction of the secrets that might be hidden underground, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves to the world. Make sure you're subscribed to Dream Vault Mysteries because we're constantly uncovering new stories that will challenge everything you thought you knew about our planet. Our third extraordinary underground discovery brings us to a remote valley where archaeologists thought they were conducting a routine excavation of a known historical site. What they found instead was evidence of a civilization that shouldn't have existed according to everything historians thought they knew about human development and ancient cultures. The excavation began as a standard archaeological survey, the kind of methodical dig that happens thousands of times around the world every year. The team was investigating what historical records suggested was a minor settlement from a well-documented time period. They expected to find pottery shards, maybe some building foundations, the usual remnants of ancient daily life that help fill in the gaps of our understanding about how people lived centuries ago. But on the third day of digging, just as the team was preparing to wrap up what seemed like a disappointing expedition, their shovels struck something that would completely shatter the established timeline of human civilization. What emerged from the earth wasn't just unexpected, it was historically impossible. The first indication that something was drastically wrong came when the carbon dating results arrived. The artifacts they had uncovered were testing at ages that placed them thousands of years before any known civilization should have possessed such advanced capabilities. The lead archaeologist thought there had been a mistake in the laboratory, so she sent samples to 3 different facilities for independent verification. All 3 came back with the same impossible dates. What made this discovery so revolutionary wasn't just the age of the artifacts, but their level of sophistication. These weren't crude stone tools or simple pottery. The objects they pulled from the ground displayed engineering precision and artistic complexity that rivaled anything produced by the most advanced ancient civilizations historians knew about. Yet, according to the dating, they predated those civilizations by millennia. The team uncovered intricately carved stone tablets covered in symbols that didn't match any known ancient writing system. The symbols were arranged in complex mathematical patterns that suggested an understanding of advanced geometric principles. Some of the tablets contained what appeared to be astronomical calculations showing planetary movements with an accuracy that shouldn't have been possible without sophisticated instruments. But perhaps the most shocking discovery was a series of metal objects that displayed metallurgical techniques far beyond what any civilization of that time period should have been capable of achieving. The alloys used in these artifacts required precise temperature control and chemical knowledge that historians believed wasn't developed until thousands of years later. Yet here they were, buried in layers of earth that had remained undisturbed for millennia. As word of the discovery spread through academic circles, teams of experts from around the world descended on the site. Historians, archaeologists, metallurgists, linguists, and astronomers all wanted to examine these impossible artifacts firsthand, but instead of providing answers, each new analysis only deepened the mystery. The linguistic experts were baffled by the writing systems found on the tablets. The symbols showed characteristics of multiple language families that shouldn't have had any contact with each other according to established theories of human migration and cultural development. Some symbols appeared to be precursors to writing systems that wouldn't emerge for thousands of years, yet they were found alongside symbols that seemed completely unique and unrelated to any known language. The astronomical calculations found on several tablets were equally puzzling. They showed detailed knowledge of celestial mechanics that required not just observation, but sophisticated mathematical modeling. The calculations tracked planetary cycles with precision that matched modern astronomical data, yet they were created by people who supposedly lacked even basic understanding of how the solar system worked. Meanwhile, the metallurgical analysis of the metal artifacts revealed even more impossibilities. The alloys contained trace elements that could only be obtained through mining techniques that weren't supposed to be developed for millennia. The precision of the metalwork suggested the use of tools and processes that no known ancient civilization possessed. Some pieces showed evidence of techniques that modern metallurgists struggled to replicate even with contemporary equipment. But the most disturbing aspect of the discovery was what it implied about the established timeline of human development. If a civilization capable of such sophisticated achievements had existed thousands of years earlier than anyone thought possible, what did that mean for everything historians thought they knew about human progress? Had there been advanced civilizations that had somehow been completely erased from the historical record? The research team began expanding their excavation, hoping to find more evidence that might help explain these anomalous artifacts. What they discovered was even more unsettling. The sophisticated objects weren't isolated finds, but part of a much larger complex of structures and artifacts that extended deep underground. The site appeared to be the remains of a substantial settlement that had existed for centuries, possibly millennia, before vanishing completely from history. Carbon dating of different layers revealed that this mysterious civilization had flourished during a time period when conventional history suggested only the most primitive human societies should have existed. Yet the evidence clearly showed a culture with advanced knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, and possibly other sciences that wouldn't be rediscovered for thousands of years. The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through the academic world. Established theories about the development of human civilization suddenly seemed inadequate to explain the evidence. If advanced civilizations had existed and then disappeared so completely that no trace remained in historical records, what other chapters of human history might have been lost forever? Some researchers began to wonder if this might not be an isolated case. Could there be other sites around the world hiding evidence of forgotten civilizations that achieved levels of sophistication far earlier than anyone had imagined? The possibility that human history might be far more complex and mysterious than previously thought opened up entirely new avenues of research and investigation. But the discovery also raised uncomfortable questions about why such an advanced civilization would have disappeared so completely. What could cause a culture with such sophisticated knowledge and capabilities to vanish without leaving any trace in the historical record? Had they been victims of some catastrophic event, or had they simply been gradually forgotten as subsequent civilizations rose and fell over the millennia? The research into this mysterious civilization continues today, with new excavations being conducted at sites around the world where similar anomalous artifacts have been discovered. Each new find adds another piece to the puzzle, but also raises new questions about the true history of human development and the possibility that our species has achieved advanced civilization multiple times throughout history, only to lose that knowledge and have to redevelop it again. At Dream Vault Mysteries, we find it fascinating to consider how many times human civilization might have risen to great heights only to fall back into darkness, leaving behind only the faintest traces for future generations to discover. This underground find forces us to question everything we think we know about our own history and heritage. But our journey into the Earth's hidden secrets is far from over. Our fourth incredible discovery will take us to a place where researchers found something that challenged not just our understanding of history, but our comprehension of life itself. What they uncovered deep beneath the surface suggested that the story of evolution and biological development might be far stranger and more complex than any scientist had ever imagined. This discovery began when a team of paleontologists was exploring a deep cave system, searching for fossilized remains that might help fill in gaps in the evolutionary record. They were following a promising lead about potential fossil deposits when their exploration took them deeper underground than any previous expedition had ventured. What they found in those depths would revolutionize our understanding of how life has developed on our planet. In a chamber so deep that it had been completely isolated from the surface world for millions of years, the team discovered fossils that defied every established principle of evolutionary biology. These weren't just unusual specimens, they were biological impossibilities that challenged the very foundations of how scientists thought evolution worked. The fossils showed characteristics that suggested evolutionary development had proceeded along completely different pathways than anything found in the surface fossil record. Some specimens displayed combinations of features from different evolutionary lineages that should never have been able to coexist. Others showed levels of complexity that appeared to have developed far too rapidly according to conventional theories of evolutionary change. But what made this discovery truly extraordinary was the realization that these weren't ancient fossils from some distant geological period. Dating analysis revealed that some of these impossible organisms had been alive relatively recently in geological terms, existing in the deep underground environment while completely separate evolutionary processes were occurring on the surface above. The discovery suggested that evolution might not be the linear, predictable process that scientists had assumed. Instead, it appeared that life had been experimenting with different developmental pathways in isolated environments, creating biological diversity that had never been documented or even imagined by conventional science. As the research team continued their exploration of this isolated underground ecosystem, they made discoveries that would shake the scientific community to its core. The fossils they were uncovering told a story of evolution that operated by completely different rules than anything observed on the surface. In these deep chambers, creatures had developed along pathways that seemed to ignore the constraints of time, environment, and genetic possibility that govern life in the world above. One of the most shocking specimens they discovered was a creature that appeared to possess characteristics from multiple evolutionary kingdoms simultaneously. Traditional evolutionary theory suggests that organisms develop along specific lineages over millions of years, gradually acquiring new traits while losing others. But this underground specimen displayed features that should have been mutually exclusive, as if evolution had somehow been able to experiment freely without the usual limitations. The paleontologists found themselves questioning everything they thought they knew about how life develops and adapts. The conventional model of evolution relies on environmental pressures gradually shaping organisms over vast periods of time. But in these deep underground chambers, isolated from surface conditions for millions of years, evolution appeared to have taken on a life of its own, creating biological forms that defied explanation. What made the discovery even more perplexing was the apparent speed at which these evolutionary changes had occurred. Some fossils showed dramatic transformations between closely related specimens that suggested evolutionary leaps happening in time frames that should have been impossible. It was as if the normal mechanisms that regulate evolutionary change had been suspended in this underground environment. The team also discovered evidence of what they began calling evolutionary convergence on an unprecedented scale. Multiple completely unrelated lineages had apparently developed similar characteristics independently, but to a degree that went far beyond anything documented in surface evolution. It was as if the isolated underground environment had somehow encouraged life to experiment with every possible biological configuration. Even more intriguing was the discovery of fossilized organisms that appeared to represent evolutionary dead ends that had somehow been resurrected and continued developing along new pathways. Characteristics that had disappeared from the surface fossil record millions of years ago were found thriving in these deep chambers, combined with entirely novel features that had never been seen before. The implications of these discoveries extended far beyond paleontology. If evolution could operate so differently in isolated environments, what did that mean for our understanding of how life might develop on other planets? The conventional search for extraterrestrial life was based on assumptions about how evolution works that these underground findings completely undermined. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the discovery was what it suggested about the completeness of our knowledge of life on Earth. If such dramatically different evolutionary processes had been occurring in isolated underground environments for millions of years, how many other hidden biospheres might exist beneath our feet? The realization that vast ecosystems could exist and evolve completely independently of surface life opened up terrifying possibilities about what else might be down there. The research team began expanding their exploration to other deep cave systems around the world, searching for similar isolated evolutionary laboratories. What they found exceeded their wildest expectations and deepest fears. Site after site revealed evidence of biological development that followed completely different rules than surface evolution, suggesting that the underground world might be home to forms of life that operated by entirely alien principles. Some of the most recent discoveries have revealed organisms that appear to exist in states that blur the boundaries between different fundamental categories of life. Specimens that seem to shift between plant-like and animal-like characteristics, creatures that display both primitive and highly advanced features simultaneously, and biological forms that seem to violate basic principles of how living systems organize and function. The scientific community has struggled to integrate these discoveries into existing evolutionary theory. Some researchers have proposed that evolution might be far more flexible and experimental than previously thought, capable of exploring biological possibilities that only emerge under specific isolated conditions. Others have suggested that these underground discoveries might represent evidence of completely separate evolutionary processes that have been operating in parallel with surface evolution for millions of years. But the most radical theories propose that these discoveries might indicate that life itself is far stranger and more adaptable than anyone had imagined. The possibility that biological systems might be capable of forms of organization and development that transcend our current understanding of how life works has profound implications for everything from medicine to astrobiology. Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we find it both fascinating and slightly terrifying to consider that the story of life on our planet might be far more complex and mysterious than we ever suspected. These underground discoveries force us to confront the possibility that we've only scratched the surface of understanding what life is capable of achieving. The research into these anomalous evolutionary processes continues, with new techniques being developed to study biological systems that seem to operate by entirely different rules. Advanced genetic analysis, sophisticated imaging technologies, and innovative modeling approaches are all being employed to try to understand how these impossible organisms could exist and evolve. But each new discovery seems to raise more questions than it answers. The more scientists learn about these underground evolutionary laboratories, the more they realize how little we actually know about the fundamental processes that govern life on our planet. The comfortable assumptions about evolution that had guided biological research for decades suddenly seem inadequate to explain the full complexity of what life can achieve. The implications extend far beyond academic curiosity. If life can evolve along such radically different pathways in isolated environments, what does that mean for our understanding of extinction, adaptation, and the future of life on Earth? Could there be biological solutions to environmental challenges hidden in these deep underground ecosystems that we haven't even begun to explore? As we prepare to explore our fifth and final incredible underground discovery, it's worth reflecting on how these findings have completely transformed our understanding of what lies beneath our feet. Each discovery has revealed that our planet is far more mysterious and complex than anyone had imagined, hiding secrets that challenge the very foundations of scientific knowledge. Our fifth and most mind-bending discovery takes us to a location where researchers made a find so extraordinary that it forced scientists to question not just their understanding of Earth's history, but the very nature of reality itself. This discovery began when a team of geophysicists was conducting routine seismic surveys to map underground rock formations for a mining company. What their instruments detected deep beneath the surface defied every known law of physics and geology. The initial readings were so unusual that the team assumed their equipment was malfunctioning. The seismic data showed structures deep underground that appeared to be exhibiting properties that shouldn't be possible according to our understanding of how matter behaves under extreme pressure and temperature. The formations seemed to be generating their own energy signatures and displaying characteristics that suggested they were somehow active, despite being buried kilometers beneath solid rock. When the team brought in more sophisticated scanning equipment to verify their findings, the results were even more bewildering. The underground structures appeared to be arranged in geometric patterns that showed mathematical relationships far too precise to be natural formations. But what made the discovery truly extraordinary was the realization that these structures seemed to be responding to the scanning attempts, almost as if they were aware of being observed. The research team quickly expanded their investigation, bringing in experts from multiple scientific disciplines to try to understand what they had discovered. Physicists were baffled by energy readings that suggested the underground formations were somehow violating fundamental laws of thermodynamics. Geologists couldn't explain how such precise geometric arrangements could form naturally in solid rock, and mathematicians were stunned by the complex numerical relationships that seemed to govern the positioning and behavior of these mysterious structures. As word of the discovery spread through scientific circles, theories began emerging to try to explain these impossible underground formations. Some researchers proposed that they might be evidence of natural processes that science hadn't yet discovered, phenomena that operated by physical laws that humans hadn't identified. Others suggested more exotic explanations involving everything from unknown forms of matter to natural systems that existed in dimensions beyond our normal three-dimensional understanding of space. But the most unsettling aspect of the discovery was the growing evidence that these underground structures were not just passive formations, but seemed to be exhibiting some form of organized behavior. Monitoring equipment detected patterns of activity that suggested the structures were somehow communicating with each other across vast underground distances. Energy pulses would originate from one location and trigger responses from formations hundreds of kilometers away, creating networks of activity that spanned entire continents. The implications of this discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community and beyond. If these structures were indeed exhibiting organized behavior, what did that mean for our understanding of consciousness, intelligence, and life itself? Could there be forms of awareness and organization operating on scales and in ways that humans had never imagined possible? Research teams around the world began searching for similar underground formations, and what they found was both fascinating and deeply troubling. The mysterious structures weren't isolated to a single location, but appeared to exist beneath every continent, connected by networks of activity that suggested a global underground system of unprecedented complexity and sophistication. The discovery forced scientists to confront the possibility that our planet might be far more than just a ball of rock and metal orbiting the sun. If these underground formations were indeed exhibiting organized behavior on a planetary scale, it raised profound questions about the nature of Earth itself and humanity's place within a larger system that we had never recognized or understood. Advanced monitoring systems deployed at sites around the world began detecting synchronized activities that suggested the underground formations were operating as components of a single massive system. Patterns of energy flow and structural changes occurred simultaneously across multiple continents, indicating coordination on a scale that challenged every assumption about how natural systems could organize and function. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the ongoing research has been the growing evidence that these underground systems might be responding to human activities on the surface. Changes in the formation's behavior patterns seem to correlate with major geological events, climate changes, and even large-scale human activities like mining operations and nuclear testing. The possibility that there might be a planetary-scale intelligence operating beneath our feet, one that has been quietly observing and perhaps influencing surface conditions for millions of years, has profound implications for everything from environmental science to philosophy. If such a system exists, what are its intentions? How long has it been active? And what does its existence mean for the future of human civilization? Here at Dreamvault Mysteries, we find ourselves confronting the possibility that our planet might be far more mysterious and alive than we ever suspected. These underground discoveries have revealed that the Earth beneath our feet is not the passive, predictable system that science has long assumed, but a complex, dynamic, and possibly conscious entity that operates by rules we're only beginning to glimpse. The research into these planetary-scale underground systems continues, with new technologies being developed specifically to study phenomena that seem to transcend conventional scientific understanding. International collaborations are forming to coordinate monitoring efforts across multiple continents, and theoretical physicists are working to develop new models that might explain how such systems could exist and function. But each new piece of data seems to reveal additional layers of complexity that challenge our understanding even further. The more we learn about these underground mysteries, the more we realize how little we actually know about the planet we call home. The comfortable assumptions about Earth as a simple geological system have been shattered, replaced by the recognition that we might be living on the surface of something far more complex and mysterious than anyone had ever imagined. As we conclude our journey through these 5 unbelievable underground discoveries, we're left with profound questions about the nature of our world and our place within it. Each discovery has revealed that the Earth beneath our feet is far more mysterious, complex, and potentially alive than we ever suspected. From hidden ecosystems that operate by entirely different biological rules to planetary-scale systems that might possess forms of consciousness beyond our understanding, these findings have completely revolutionized our perception of what lies beneath the surface. The implications of these discoveries extend far beyond scientific curiosity. They force us to confront the possibility that we are not the masters of our planet that we believed ourselves to be, but rather temporary residents on the surface of a world that operates by rules and purposes we are only beginning to comprehend. The underground realm that these discoveries have revealed is not the empty, passive space that science once assumed, but a dynamic, complex, and possibly conscious domain that has been quietly existing beneath our feet for millions of years. At Dreamvault Mysteries, we believe that these underground discoveries represent just the beginning of a new era of exploration and understanding. As technology advances and our ability to probe the Earth's depths improves, we will undoubtedly uncover even more extraordinary secrets that challenge everything we think we know about our world. The 5 discoveries we've explored today have shown us that mystery and wonder are not confined to distant galaxies or exotic dimensions, but exist right beneath our feet, waiting for the next brave explorer to uncover them. Each shovel of dirt, each drill core, each seismic survey brings us closer to understanding the true nature of our planet, and perhaps discovering that we are not alone in the universe, but sharing our world with forms of life and intelligence that operate on scales and in ways we are only beginning to imagine. But before we dive into the profound implications of what we've just discovered together, I want to take a moment to address something that I know is probably running through your mind right now. You might be wondering, if discoveries this extraordinary are being made regularly, why don't we hear about them more often? Why aren't these findings front-page news around the world? The answer to that question reveals another layer of mystery that surrounds underground discoveries. The scientific community operates under strict protocols when it comes to releasing information about findings that challenge established theories. When researchers uncover evidence that contradicts decades or even centuries of accepted knowledge, they face enormous pressure to verify, re-verify, and then verify again before making any public announcements. Many of the discoveries we've explored today took years, sometimes decades, before the scientific community was willing to acknowledge their legitimacy. The researchers who made these finds often faced skepticism, ridicule, and professional ostracism from their peers. Academic careers have been destroyed by scientists who dared to publish findings that challenged conventional wisdom about what should be possible in our underground world. There's also the question of funding and access. Deep underground exploration requires enormous financial resources and specialized equipment that most research institutions simply cannot afford. Many of the most promising sites for underground discovery are located in remote areas or fall under the jurisdiction of governments that restrict access for reasons of national security or economic interest. But perhaps the most sobering reality is that some discoveries are simply too dangerous or too disruptive to be shared with the general public. When researchers uncover evidence of underground systems that could fundamentally alter our understanding of how our planet works, or findings that might cause widespread panic or social upheaval, difficult decisions have to be made about what information should be released and when. Consider for a moment what would happen if definitive proof emerged that our planet harbors forms of intelligence or life that have been operating on scales we never imagined. How would religious institutions respond to evidence that challenges fundamental beliefs about creation and humanity's special place in the universe? How would governments react to the discovery that their territorial sovereignty extends over systems they cannot control or even fully understand? The economic implications alone would be staggering. Industries built around assumptions about geological stability, resource extraction, and environmental predictability would face existential challenges. Investment markets that depend on reliable models of how natural systems behave would be thrown into chaos by evidence that our planet operates according to principles we haven't yet discovered. But here's what I find most fascinating about these underground mysteries. They force us to confront the limitations of human knowledge and the assumptions we make about our place in the natural world. For centuries, humans have operated under the belief that we understand the basic principles governing our planet. We've built our civilizations, our technologies, and our entire worldview on the assumption that Earth is a predictable, comprehensible system that we can master and control. These underground discoveries shatter that comfortable illusion. They reveal that we are living on the surface of a world that is far more complex, mysterious, and potentially alive than we ever suspected. The ground beneath our feet, which we've always taken for granted as solid and unchanging, turns out to be teeming with activity, intelligence, and possibilities that challenge every assumption we've made about the nature of reality itself. What's particularly striking is how these discoveries seem to be accelerating. As our technology becomes more sophisticated and our ability to probe the Earth's depths improves, we're uncovering secrets at an unprecedented rate. Each new finding opens up possibilities for even more extraordinary discoveries, creating a cascade of revelations that threatens to completely revolutionize our understanding of our world. The teams of researchers working on these projects often describe a sense of standing at the edge of an abyss of knowledge, peering into depths of mystery that seem to extend infinitely downward. Every question they answer reveals 10 new questions they hadn't even known to ask. Every boundary they cross reveals new boundaries stretching out beyond their ability to explore. At Dream Vault Mysteries, we've spoken with researchers who describe the psychological impact of these discoveries as profoundly transformative. Scientists who began their careers with confidence in the established models of how Earth works find themselves questioning not just their professional knowledge, but their fundamental understanding of reality itself. The comfortable certainties they once relied on have been replaced by a sense of wonder and unease about what other secrets might be hiding just beyond the reach of current exploration. Some researchers have described experiencing what they call underground vertigo, a disorienting sense that the solid ground they're standing on is actually just a thin crust covering unimaginable depths of mystery and complexity. The realization that kilometers of unknown territory exist directly beneath their feet creates a perspective shift that many find both exhilarating and deeply unsettling. But perhaps the most important lesson these discoveries teach us is about the importance of maintaining an open mind about what's possible. Throughout history, the greatest scientific breakthroughs have come from researchers who were willing to question established assumptions and explore possibilities that their peers dismissed as impossible. The underground mysteries we've explored today remind us that our planet still holds countless secrets waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to dig deeper. The future of underground exploration promises even more extraordinary revelations. Advances in drilling technology, seismic imaging, and remote sensing are giving researchers unprecedented ability to probe the Earth's depths. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are being employed to analyze vast amounts of geological data, identifying patterns and anomalies that human researchers might miss. New international collaborations are forming to coordinate underground research efforts across multiple continents. Scientists are sharing data and resources in ways that would have been impossible just a few decades ago, creating global networks of researchers dedicated to uncovering the secrets that lie beneath our feet. But as exciting as these technological advances are, they also raise new questions about what we're prepared to discover. Each improvement in our ability to explore underground brings us closer to potentially finding evidence of things that could fundamentally challenge our understanding of life, consciousness, and our place in the universe. The ethical implications of underground discovery are becoming increasingly complex as well. Who has the right to decide what underground secrets should be explored and what should remain hidden? How do we balance scientific curiosity with considerations of safety, security, and social stability? These are questions that the research community is only beginning to grapple with as the pace of discovery accelerates. Here at Dream Vault Mysteries, we believe that knowledge and understanding are fundamental human rights, and that the secrets hidden beneath our feet belong to all of humanity. But we also recognize that some discoveries carry risks and responsibilities that must be carefully considered before they're shared with the world. The underground realm revealed by these 5 extraordinary discoveries represents a new frontier for human exploration and understanding. Like the ocean depths or the far reaches of space, the world beneath our feet offers infinite possibilities for discovery and wonder. But unlike those distant frontiers, the underground world is intimately connected to our daily lives, influencing everything from the stability of our buildings to the availability of our water resources. As we continue to explore these hidden depths, we're not just uncovering secrets about our planet's past, we're discovering information that could be crucial for humanity's future. Understanding the complex systems that operate beneath the Earth's surface could provide insights into everything from climate change to natural disaster prediction to the search for new energy sources. The journey into Earth's underground mysteries has only just begun. Every day, researchers around the world are making new discoveries that add pieces to the puzzle of understanding what lies beneath our feet. Some of these discoveries confirm theories that scientists have held for decades. Others completely overturn established knowledge and force us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about our planet. But perhaps the most important discovery of all is the realization that mystery and wonder are not things of the past, relics of a time when the world was less explored and understood. Instead, these underground revelations remind us that we live in a universe filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered, mysteries that challenge our understanding and inspire us to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. The 5 unbelievable discoveries we've explored today represent just a tiny fraction of the secrets that might be hidden in the depths beneath our feet. Each shovel of dirt turned, each drill core extracted, each seismic survey conducted brings us one step closer to understanding the true nature of our remarkable planet. And who knows, the next incredible discovery might be happening right now, just a few meters beneath where you're sitting, waiting for the right person with the right tools and the right amount of curiosity to bring it into the light. At Dream Vault Mysteries, we're committed to continuing this journey of exploration and discovery. The underground world has revealed itself to be far more extraordinary than anyone ever imagined, and we're just getting started on uncovering its secrets. Every mystery we solve opens the door to new questions, new possibilities, and new adventures in the endless quest to understand the world beneath our feet. The story of underground discovery is ultimately a story about human curiosity and the relentless drive to understand our place in the universe. These findings remind us that no matter how much we think we know, there are always new frontiers to explore, new mysteries to solve, and new wonders to discover. The ground beneath our feet, which we walk on every day without a second thought, turns out to be one of the most mysterious and fascinating frontiers left for human exploration. So the next time you're walking down the street, standing in your backyard, or sitting in your home, take a moment to consider what might be happening in the depths below. The discoveries we've explored today have shown us that the underground world is alive with activity, mystery, and possibilities that we're only beginning to understand. Who knows what incredible secrets are waiting just beneath your feet, ready to be discovered by the next generation of brave explorers willing to dig deeper into the mysteries of our extraordinary planet. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the hidden world beneath our feet. These 5 unbelievable discoveries have shown us that our planet is far more mysterious and extraordinary than we ever dared to imagine. From living ecosystems that defy the laws of biology to ancient civilizations that challenge everything we know about human history, from geological formations that bend the rules of physics, to evolutionary laboratories that rewrite the story of life itself, and finally to planetary scale systems that might possess consciousness beyond our comprehension. Each of these discoveries forces us to confront a humbling truth. We are not the masters of our world that we believed ourselves to be. Instead, we are temporary visitors walking across the surface of a planet that harbors secrets, intelligences, and mysteries that dwarf our understanding. The solid ground beneath our feet, which we've always taken for granted, turns out to be just a thin crust covering realms of possibility that stretch far beyond the reach of human imagination. What strikes me most about these underground revelations is how they remind us that mystery isn't something confined to distant galaxies or ancient history. The greatest secrets of our universe might be hidden just meters below where you're standing right now. Every step you take, every building you enter, every road you travel crosses over depths that could contain wonders more extraordinary than anything science fiction has ever conceived. The researchers who made these discoveries often describe feeling overwhelmed by the realization of how much we don't know about our own planet. Scientists who devoted their careers to understanding Earth's systems suddenly found themselves confronting evidence that challenged every assumption they had made about how our world works. The comfortable certainties they once relied on were replaced by a sense of awe and humility before the vast unknown that lies beneath our feet. But here's what I find most inspiring about these discoveries. They prove that the age of exploration is far from over. While we've mapped the surfaces of distant planets and probed the depths of space, we've barely scratched the surface of understanding the world directly beneath us. Every new technology, every innovative technique, every brave expedition into the underground realm brings us closer to revelations that could transform our understanding of life, consciousness, and reality itself. The implications of these findings extend far beyond academic curiosity. They suggest that solutions to humanity's greatest challenges might be hidden in the depths below. New forms of energy, revolutionary medical treatments, answers to climate change, and insights into the nature of consciousness itself could all be waiting in the underground laboratories that these discoveries have revealed. As we stand on the threshold of a new era of underground exploration, I can't help but wonder what other secrets are waiting to be discovered. Advanced drilling technologies, sophisticated imaging systems, and artificial intelligence are giving researchers unprecedented ability to probe Earth's hidden depths. International collaborations are forming to coordinate exploration efforts across the globe. The next decade could bring discoveries that make everything we've discussed today seem like just the beginning. At Dream Vault Mysteries, we're committed to bringing you the most extraordinary stories of discovery and exploration from around the world. The underground realm has proven to be one of the richest sources of mystery and wonder that we've ever encountered, and we're just getting started on uncovering its secrets. If these incredible discoveries have sparked your curiosity about the hidden mysteries of our world, make sure you're subscribed to Dream Vault Mysteries and hit that notification bell. We're constantly exploring new frontiers of knowledge and bringing you stories that will challenge everything you thought you knew about reality. The underground world we've revealed today is just one of countless frontiers waiting to be explored. The next time you look down at the ground beneath your feet, remember that you're standing on the roof of a vast, mysterious realm that could contain wonders beyond imagination. The 5 discoveries we've explored today have shown us that our planet is far more alive, complex, and extraordinary than we ever suspected, and somewhere in the depths below, the next incredible discovery is waiting for someone brave enough to seek it out. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep dreaming about the incredible mysteries that surround us every day. This is Dream Vault Mysteries, reminding you that the greatest adventures often begin with a single step into the unknown.